Soundbite to go into the weekend as we get to the big week, which is next week for the incoming administration. There's the Inspector General of Police telling the nation how he looked corruption. Joining us to look at expectation for the new government is a security consultant, Emeka Nwanevu, National Coordinator, IPPSED, and member, Presidential Committee on Reform of Police. IPPSED.
Initiative for Public Safety, Security, and Educational Development.
Now, trying to set an agenda for the incoming administration, we're trying to look at the police, which is a great institution that everyone would love to see it being reformed and being strengthened. If you were to set a template or a blueprint for the administration of the Buhari administration from May 29th, what would that be for the Nigerian police?
Yeah, we have always said, and it's known internationally, that the police is the public face of the government. And that is why I'm also happy as a stakeholder in the policing infrastructure in Nigeria. The coming of Inspector General of Police Arase is a very good one at this time, because it's one person who has served through the ranks. So I'm sure he's going to be in a position to change a few things in the police. And the reform that we've been trying to do in the last 10 years, he's been part of it. So the Buhari administration expects that, one, they must try to get the public confidence back in the police. And part of the strategy is to ensure that the police begins to do what it should do, which is preservation of the lives and property of Nigerians. And in so doing, ensure that the rights of these Nigerians are not abused.
So you said something about the Inspector General of Police. He served through the ranks. Are you implying that the others did not serve through the ranks, or they missed out on the different reform programs? Okay,
let's put it this way. He occupied certain sensitive positions that put him in a better position than the other ones. Like, I don't think there's any other police officer that served 3 Inspectors General of Police as Principal Staff Officer. He also headed the State Criminal Investigation Department in Lagos, and he produced this book. That's why I decided to look for this book and bring it. He's a man who has tried to document what he has tried to do in the police. So looking forward, I think he is better positioned to do slightly better than the other IGs before him. Okay, let me just quickly draw your attention. See what he has done with the roadblocks now. He's saying that, yes, the roadblocks have to go.
Which is what others have said.
But it was only Abubakar that had the political will to enforce the removal of the roadblocks. In the last few years, after Abubakar, we'll say months after Abubakar, we also saw the roadblocks coming in different shapes and patterns. And that's why, if you listen to him, he said, I'm not going to ambush anybody. And that's why I've given you a long time to comply. And this time around, he's not just saying the police officers that are going to be caught, even the commanders. If there's any roadblock within your jurisdiction, you'll be held responsible. That's a good body language from an inspector general.
So we're talking about leadership that can drive reforms in the police.
Yeah.
I'd like us to go back to so many other issues. Even Channels, in its corporate social responsibility, felt the pain of the police to the extent that they took it upon it as a responsibility to see how the police can be reformed. I want us to look at so many other things, and it has to do with the rank and file of the police, especially when it comes to welfare. How well can you get the coming government to build on the welfare so far of the police?
Yeah, very quickly too. One of the first statements that IGP Arase made, coming to office, is that he's going to focus on the welfare of the personnel of the Nigerian Police Force. And that is key. We have identified on this platform and some other platforms that the welfare of the police personnel is nothing to write home about. And because Arase was also the secretary of the Presidential Committee on the Reform of the Nigerian Police Force in 2006. So he's also, like I said, well positioned to implement the recommendations that have been made in those documents that have not been implemented by governments.
Can we open the books and tell us some of those recommendations?
Okay, let me even start with the one that was in the public space for a very long time, police pensions. As we speak, most police officers don't know what they're entitled to on retirement. As we speak, some police officers have deductions from their salaries that nobody explains to them what the deductions are. As we speak, there are some officers who also don't know exactly what their salaries are. Now, we have said that a well-resourced police will be responsible if you put them out there to serve the public.
So you believe that there's a lot of internal cleansing that must take place before, we can even begin to talk of government looking into the police itself?
Clearly, even though there's also no clear-cut, line of demarcation between the police as an institution and the government. So, but the government needs to sit in immediately and get the police leadership to look at what is happening internally. And then, of course, begin to resource the police after that cleansing. Because even in the uniforms and accoutrements, like we have said, before, most of the police officers buy their uniforms.
But these are
So
all
their
things
uniforms.
that are budgeted for. I mean, over the years, the budgets of the police force is as if they're not properly implemented.
Yes, and some of us, when we come on air like this, we're careful what we say. But the thing is, the budget process for the Nigerian police, we think it shouldn't just be a top-down thing. It should also be bottom-up, so that you begin to see the needs of the police, from the smallest police post to a police division, to a state command, to a zonal command, before you go to the force headquarters. That's also part of why we're saying that the structure of the Nigerian police force, for now, needs some reform.